Nintendo Switch 2 isn't real until it starts being produced. Nintendo Switch 2 can't be in your hands or mine until it hits the factories first. For all the Switch 2 leaks and all the Switch 2 rumors, what about actual production news? This comes from a Taiwanese website, and this is super interesting. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Now, just to establish credibility for MoneyDJ.com, they were one of the very first, if not the first, to talk about Switch production all the way back in March of 2016. That would be a full 12 months before Nintendo Switch actually launched in March of 2017. And that's even preceding when Nintendo themselves said, hey, the NX, the next generation of Nintendo, is coming in March 2017. They tweeted that out in late April. So MoneyDJ has some knowledge, and they're now saying that they believe that momentum is ramping up for a big manufacturer, Hongjun, who makes metal cases. And they're saying the second half of this year will see big upticks because Nintendo is planning to launch the next Switch in Q1 of 2024. Now, this is a massive piece of news, and it really does seem like things are ramping in this direction. MoneyDJ.com covers more of the financial side of things, and they're talking about peak season, increases, production, things of that sort, and they're saying that based on this estimate, Hongjun's game console assembly business will expand. It is hoped that we will start to see the momentum of pulling goods in December this year. Now, that's obviously a bit of an odd translation. Basically, they're saying they expect these metal cases to really ramp up in December of this year in preparation for a Q1 2024 Switch 2 launch, which basically means March, because no new consoles coming out in January or February. Now, what's interesting here is that's a pretty short ramp up, but if they are going to begin towards the end of the year in November or December, Nintendo would have to talk about it probably before then. First of all, Nintendo needs time to market this thing, introduce this thing, talk about this thing, but also they don't want it to leak out from the factories. So if things are really going to wrap up in Q4 of this year, they want to get out ahead of that. And it lines up and makes sense because last time, if you remember, Nintendo talked about the Switch in October. It came out in March. It was like a 6-month thing. And I feel like they'll do something similar again, if not even shorter. Remember, that was on the heels of the Wii U. Nintendo had to convince everyone like, hey, we're good. We know what we're doing. Give us another chance, because the Wii U was such a colossal failure, both in terms of sales figures and financial numbers. Now with Switch being an absolute behemoth, Nintendo can basically come out and say, yo, we got a new thing. It does 4K and it's sick. And people will be like, sign me up. And there's this whole debate over, will Nintendo cannibalize their holiday sales this year? But two things I want to interject on that point. One, Nintendo is reaching a point of near critical mass. They're not there yet, but there's only so many Switches you can sell, right? Of the OG Switch version. You can't just infinitely sell the Switch. It's a diminishing returns curve after a certain point. And Nintendo has absolutely hit that point, despite having super strong sales, including the best June they've ever had over in Japan, thanks to Tears of the Kingdom. But with Tears of the Kingdom being a summer title, by the time we reach holiday, there won't be a ton of new Switch owners. And if there are, they will be the kind of people that want to play Mario Bros. Wonder. More of the casual fan that's getting in on the generation very late, maybe at a nice holiday discounted price. And I don't believe that the announcement of a new console will jeopardize a good chunk of those sales. If they come out and say, hey, we got a new Switch 2 and it's going to be $400 in March of 2024, but then they drop the price of the Switch a bit for the holiday season in 2023, many people will still take advantage of the cheaper model, all the games available, and Nintendo can rely on software to carry them through. This isn't a case of if Nintendo doesn't sell hardware, they're screwed. They're going to sell millions of software. Think about Mario RPG, think about Mario Wonder, even stuff like Detective Pikachu 2, and the continued sales of games like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Animal Crossing, and all the Pokemons. They push units, and software is where they make a massive amount of their money. So for Nintendo to announce this and cannibalize holiday sales, I don't think it's as big of a deal as some are making it out to be. Nintendo can survive the holiday season and thrive quite well while having some of the more hardcore sit back. But the question I ask you is, how many people that have not yet bought a Switch are wanting to buy a Switch 2 launch day? That doesn't usually add up. It's the most hardcore, the biggest fans that are the early adopters of a new system. And therefore, in terms of destroying this market of sales for a second, a third Switch, a late to the party family coming into the Switch audience, I don't think they really overlap all that much. Announcing a Switch 2 in October or November does not, in my mind, seem to destroy the possibility of many newcomers still purchasing a Switch and Mario Bros. Wonder, especially in conjunction with the price drop this holiday season. Now back to MoneyDJ.com. There is a little bit of scuttlebutt here that I do want to bring to your attention, which is that some are saying, does MoneyDJ say things that they sort of want to say to manipulate some of the stock prices of the companies they discuss? This is something that has been brought up about MoneyDJ, and I wanted to make you aware. There's no proof of this, and we don't know exactly what's happening here, but there is some talk that perhaps they say things that they want to believe or that they want others to believe more so than they're actually sourced factual leaks. They do seem pretty confident, and there's multiple articles up right now on MoneyDJ.com about a Q1 Switch launch and that Nintendo is actively preparing this. Now, once production does start to ramp up, we'll have actual confirmation and we should get leaks of that sort. I suppose there's a chance that on the heels of this, Nintendo could announce something in the coming weeks, but I highly doubt it. It really does feel like Nintendo will follow a very similar plan and protocol as to what they did with Switch back in 2016 and 2017. A late year announce, an early year fiesta where they showcase the system, and then a March launch and release. And you might be saying, well, why did they announce Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon and Princess Peach if they're going to have a console come out in the same time frame? But I believe the reason is they want to show continued and unrelenting support for Nintendo Switch, at least for a few years, until we understand fully the backwards compatibility situation between the two systems, until we understand how Nintendo is going to market and position this new console. They will support Switch. Heck, they were releasing Wii games years and years and years and years beyond. Wii U is a different story because Wii U was a failure, but with Switch's success and with such a huge player base, there will be games. And not just ports, and not just Dance, but there will be good games from Nintendo. And I do believe that all the games that come out in the coming 2 years probably will be cross-gen experiences. I don't know that there's going to be hardly any new Nintendo Switch 2 exclusives. I could be wrong on this point, but it feels like they'll adopt a similar strategy as to what PlayStation and Microsoft did. PlayStation to extreme success, Microsoft, they're a different beast. But Nintendo, I believe, will follow that. So we have a metal case manufacturer apparently ramping up production towards the end of the year with December, and there's no way that if that's the case, this is a holiday 2024 system. I think that's the important point here, is that this all does point to a Switch in Q1 of 2024, and launching in the summer feels very odd. To me, Nintendo either goes with March again or they go with the holiday season. You don't really have an in-between. Launching in May, June feels very awkward and is uncharted territory and something I don't think Nintendo really wants to mess around with. If production does ramp up this year, if production is beginning, and towards the end of the year we do see significant upticks from companies that make screens, that make metal cases, that make things of this sort, we can be pretty sure that Nintendo Switch 2, or whatever it's called, will be launching in early 2024. And hopefully we don't have to wait for production notes. Instead, we'll just hear from Nintendo, as like I mentioned, they would want to preempt a factory run before things leak out and before sort of their thunder is taken from them. Back in 2016, Nintendo had a cool trailer ready to go in October, and they said, this is NX, this is Switch. I hope they do something similar. And given the popularity and the name recognition of the Switch brand, you don't need a huge marketing cycle. You need something short and sweet that says, hey, it's a better Switch. You all have loved Switch for 7 years. Get in on it. It's going to be more expensive, but oh wait, we got a price drop in case you're still looking for a good gift from Santa Claus in 2023. I think this lines up. I think this will check out. Right now, it's still in sort of rumor territory, but coming from an investment website like this, it bodes better than coming from a Twitter account or 4chan. So I do believe that this is pretty legit, especially with their March 2016 talk of production on the original Switch. That's a good call out and shows that they do have insider knowledge and connections with the different manufacturers working for Nintendo. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, everybody. I find this to be exciting news, but what's your take? Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, SwitchForce out.